Hi there, welcome back to another episode of Nature Aquariums TV, where today we're going to be scaping this UNS 45E Paludarium. Now before we get to our video, we're going to do something special today. The first 3 people who like, share, subscribe, and comment right below will receive a special prize pack. And now, on with our video. Alright, so today we're going to be working with the UNS 45E Paludarium. Now they make this tank in 2 model variations. One of them is solid without the bulkheads, but the ones that I like carrying are the ones with the bulkheads, and they make them in 3 sizes, the 5, the 45, and the 60. In today's episode we're going to be working with the 45 centimeter version. The reason why I like these bulkheads over here is the ability to run your canister filter and attach the attachments like a spray bar, the return, the intake, and have everything plumbed down below into your cabinet. Now that being said, we're going to show you a little bit later a couple of tricks that we're going to be using this canister filter. For our canister filter, I'm going to be working with the UNS Delta 30. It is very small. I don't need a whole lot of flow in this paludarium, but I do want good filtration to keep the water clean and keep the biological handled. Now, in addition, I'm using the Orion Nano LED Light. It allows me to adjust the height of this so plants and everything will be able to grow and the light does not get in the way. This does come in silver and black. In this case, we're using black, and that allows me to change 5 color modes, and I can dim the lighting if I choose to. In this case, I'm not going to need to dim the light because it is being mounted so high up. Lastly, what I'm going to be using for this tank is going to be the all-new Strata Pro from UNS. I'm going to show you now in a second what it is. I'm going to bring it in. It's a little bit heavy, but I think you guys are going to like it. What I really like about the UNS Strata Pro is that they hand assemble all of these mountain and layouts, and then they put them onto a nice resin platform. So it's very nice and rigid. It holds on to it, and it makes it easier to put it into your tank. Now I do advise sometimes coming in at a little bit of an angle, and you got to be careful that you don't drop it as it is heavy.
Yeah, I was going to say it looks heavy.
It is heavy, but it is very, very nice. But the UNS tanks are nice and strong, and they really contrast with the high clarity glass. You can really see the detail work in these. So what we're going to do here on the layout is we're going to have plants coming in through the valley, and I will have some gravel in through there. I'm going to have tall plants onto the sides to hide the plumbing. And the plumbing is going to consist, I'm taking the spray bar from the UNS Delta 30 and I'm mounting it on this side, and the intake with the shrimp guard, as you can see, it's going to be mounted on the left side. And once again, the whole aim of this is going to be to hide it so you can't see it readily. You want to make it look as natural as possible. So I want to show you a little pro tip. A lot of you struggle, like myself, installing tubing onto canister fittings like this. Usually doesn't look like it can fit. It takes a lot of elbow grease. I'll show you a little quick tip. You get some really hot water to the point of boiling. In this case, I'm using a small piece of hose, so this is enough. But if you're working with full-length tubing, such as this, take a pot of water, fill it with water, fill the tubing with water, roll it in, and put your pot to boil. But don't let it boil. Just bring it up to the point before it's boiling, about 180 degrees or so. And what it's going to do, it's going to soften up the tubing so it makes it very easy to work. Plus it removes the memory of the tube being coiled up in the box for months. What this gives you is a much nicer layout. Now, you have to be careful when pulling this out of the hot water, as it is very hot and you don't want to burn yourself. But this is how easy that slid in there. I'm going to put it a little bit more into hot water. Once you take it out of the hot water, with very little effort, it slid right in, just like that. And I'm going to do the same thing for the intake. I'm going to put it in there into the hot water, It's going to soften it up. Now there's another benefit. The vinyl tubing, when it gets hot, it expands. That's why it makes it easy to put in. But as it cools down, it actually shrinks around the barred fitting, creating a nice airtight seal, which is what you want, and to prevent the micro bubbles from getting into your canister filter. Now we're going to put the intake. And once again, very, very easy to work with. So once again, we're here in South Florida with very soft water. We're going to be adding crushed coral to the back of the tank wherever you won't see it. I'm also going to bury some of it into the substrate. So now that we have our hardscape in and our substrate, we have a pretty good idea where we're going to plant our plants. I have a cool idea that I want to try out. And we're going to take this spray bar from the UNS Delta 30. And one of the things that they do different from every other manufacturer out there is that the spray bar has these little nozzles that you can actually attach airline tubing to create a waterfall effect. And we're going to go put this into action. Let's see if I can get my ideas to work. This is how easy the airline tubing fits in there. So one of the things we finished doing is running all the tubing behind the rocks, making little holes, and hopefully this is going to flow the way we want it to flow. We use some of the rock wool to actually harden and keep the tubes in place, and then we use some CA glue to harden the rock wool. And now we're going to go and start planting some of these plants. Alright, we're going to start planting. I'm going to start from the back and work myself forwards. On this corner, I want to do some of these really nice ocelot swords. Ocelots are really cool. They have some very nice variegated foliage, and they do well both above and underwater. We got to train these plants to actually have leaves above water as well. So it's going to take a little while before they look phenomenal, but in the end result, I think they're going to look incredible. Next up, we're going to do Bacopa manieri, and this is a really cool plant that grows immersed as well as submerged. So now we're going to move into the mid-ground plants. So we're going to use these really nice crypts. I'm using two varieties, Crypt Red, Wendetti Red, and Crypt Undulata. And we're going to plant these, and of course crypts will grow in and above water. So next we're going to do two mid-ground, foreground plants. One is Legonandra Melbodi, which I've used before. Then we're going to use Ultra-Thin Renicky Mini, and this is very red, and we're going to mix it in so we can put a little bit of red and greens in the middle over here, kind of make a path. Next up, we're going to use some Monte Carlo to have it crawl along the rockwork, and let's see how we can keep it above the water line and below, and to try to form a little bit of a carpet. Next up is Bucephalandra, and Bucephalandra is a low light plant. It needs its nutrients. It can get it from the water column, and it can be both grown immersed and underwater. I'm going to attach this all throughout the rockwork. Now we're going to use a little bit of this decorative gravel. I want to cover a little bit back there, this little valley in there, solidify and sprinkle a little bit of the pebbles all the way around to give it a little more natural feel. So we were going to put a couple more plants in here, but it really looks like the tank is filled up nicely. So now we're going to move on to hooking up the filter and getting this thing running. So now we're getting ready to fill this, and we've already hooked up the filter, as you can see below. That's the UNS Delta 30. I've made all the connections. I am just wetting the plants down and the glass, as we're going to use my little trick of taking the empty bag from Controsoil, and we're going to lay this right on top of the plants and the layout, so that way it does not damage the layout while we fill it with water.
Action.
All right, so we had to make a little bit of adjustments on the water flow to make sure we get the nice waterfall effect, but we want to cover up these tubes, so we're going to put a little bit of Brazilian pennywort in here, and let's see what that will do to the look of the aquascape. Alright guys, thanks for watching the setting up of the UNS 45E Paludarium. And as always, remember to like, share, and subscribe so you can see more videos like this.